Alright? First and foremost, I give all praises, honor and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Machakodash.
Give double honor to the apostles of great mercy and true well. Salutations to the men of the Hope Land Saints elect. Right, Brother Makazan, Brother Kalab. Just want to do edification for the elect's sake. And basically will be entitled The Way of Seducing Spirits. Alright? In a sense of, like you're coming to truth, you learn the word, and then you might get an epiphany. The word epiphany means revelation. So you might get a revelation from the Most High that might reveal a breakdown unto you. Or it might not even be from the, it might be from the left hand side. Alright? So you have to be careful of of the revelations that you get. And with the revelations, don't think that you're wiser or greater than the men that taught you this word. Alright? Because many men, when they got the so-called epiphanies, it caused them to fall out from the truth. It caused them to go astray teaching their own thing. Alright?
This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressingly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits.
Yeah, and that is what they're doing. They're giving heed to seducing spirits and departing from the faith, departing from the way of truth. Alright, like ITR. Alright, like these two reports, Yashala Milwaukee, which they still even be calling themselves Yashala. Alright? When you depart from the faith, you grow up in the truth, and you learn this word, you learn the basics of this word, and then all of a sudden you get some epiphany that that the apostles do the wrong breakdown. Alright? Or that some breakdown that you got, and you start to see yourself on the same level as the apostle. Alright? Yeah, the Most High can reveal things unto you, but the scripture says mysteries are revealed unto the meek. Alright? So don't just, when you get your revelation, believe that you're greater than the men that taught you. And also when you get a revelation, hey, don't just run and teach where you believe that been revealed unto you. Go and bring that breakdown to somebody that over you, the apostles or an elder, so that they can go through it to make sure that you're on the right track. Don't just believe within give me Proverbs 3. Don't just believe within your heart that you're on the right path and that you don't need nobody over you, to supervise you. And these men been nourished up in the truth. Alright? So don't feel that you're greater than these men, that you don't need any supervision to know if you're on the right track. You could be on the right track, but guess what? You still need supervision and the okay from the apostles all the way down to the elders to make sure that you're doing this thing, speaking in one mind. Because that is the scriptures also. If you go against that, you're going against the scriptures. Alright? Well,
this is the book of Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, trust in the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
Yeah, in all thy ways acknowledge him. So when you don't go to the apostles to check to make sure that your breakdown is on point, you're not acknowledging the Most High. Because the scripture said, let me read it real quick. This is the book of Romans chapter 13. It says verse 1, it says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of Yahweh. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. So the Most High ordained these men. So when you don't go to these men to check your breakdown, to make sure that your breakdown on point, guess what? You're going against the Most High. He that resisted not man, but the Most High. Alright? So when you get an epiphany, you might get it might be a deep breakdown. It might be on point. But don't just run and teach your own thing. Come and go to the apostles or the elders to make sure that step by step that your breakdown on point. Hey, you might be on the right track, but it might have little errors in between, little bones in between, and the apostles can help make this breakdown. They can help perfect this breakdown. All right? They can help perfect this breakdown. Don't just do things on your own. All right? Seek supervision from the men above you. All right? And that is what them seducing spirits do. One of the reasons why you wouldn't go to somebody over you is because them seducing spirits puff you up with pride. And you start to believe that you're greater than the men that taught you. All right? So don't beware of them seducing spirits. Especially the last time we're in here right now.
Continuing Proverbs chapter 3, at verse 7, it says, "Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones."
Can understand? It could be health. Because a right breakdown could actually make you follow the truth. Because when you realize this breakdown right, you start to get puffed up. The scripture said knowledge puff it up. And pride is the beginning of fall. Alright? So you have to be careful. This seducing spirit might give you a breakdown just to destroy your own self. Alright? Remember that your breakdown is not for you, but for the edification of the body. It's for the edification of the body. So this, as the scripture says, let all things be done to edification. Alright? So then therefore you have to make sure that you edify the body properly. And there's no right way to do something wrong. Alright? As I said, your breakdown might be right, but the way you go about trying to bring the breakdown, you will be wrong. By trying to go behind the apostles' back and just doing a video without running the breakdown by them. Have no right way to do something wrong, right?
If I could say, hey, any individual that comes into the truth, and basically lean on their own understanding, all right, and basically, depending on their own wisdom, that individual is a novice. All right, that person will be classified as a novice, not knowing how to handle the spirit. All right, not knowing how to deal with wisdom. All right, because wisdom is nothing else puff you up. All right, knowledge is nothing else puff you up. All right, you always remember that the Most High, He set up men above you, to guide you along the way. This is book of 1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 6. It says, "Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into condemnation of the devil." All right, only a novice with knowledge make him feel full of pride. All right, and then where you fall into condemnation of the devil.
Hey, guess what? When the apostles got the breakdown with Cornelius, they didn't just run and do their own thing. They brought it to the head. They brought it to the head. All right? And guess what? At the end of the day, they were right with their breakdown. So as I said, you might be right with your breakdown, but just going and doing a video and trying to edify the body, you will be wrong. All right, you go to the apostles first, go to the elders first, and let them check the breakdown to make sure if it's on point or not. Don't just do your own thing.
That's right.
As some here, this is Galatians chapter 6, verse 6. "Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things." So communicate. Always communicate. Communicate with the apostle. The apostle Taha, apostle Babaraka, apostle Ramlab, any of the elders. I got this epiphany. I just want to leave this breakdown on point. If you could just, clarify this breakdown for me. This is what you have to do. You have to go to the apostles to make sure that you breakdown on point. Don't just do your own thing. Right?
Because if it is when you get epiphany, the first thing you're looking to do with that epiphany is to show, to try to show others how wise you get, to see if you can gain some sort of rank or position. That is folly. Alright, if it is you get a epiphany, the Most High give you a certain amount of wisdom, knowledge, He reveals a certain mystery unto you, you're supposed to bring it to the body because the wisdom that you got came from the Most High. Alright, and you're in a body, so you have to share it with the body, and not for your own gratification.
Isaiah chapter 5 and 21. "Warn to them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight." As the brother said, somebody wise in their own eyes, basically looking for their own glory. The scripture said, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom. But let him that glory in the fact that he know and understand me. It's Galatians chapter 5 verse 7. It says, you did run well. Who did hinder you that you should not obey the truth? This persuasion cometh not from him that calleth you. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Alright? So that persuasion ain't come from the Most High, because the Most High calling us to be, the scripture said the Lord had called us unto cleanness, unto holiness and not uncleanness. Alright? The Most High didn't call us to be prideful. Alright? Most High didn't call us to be that way. Alright? So that little level, that little bit of pride that you have in you, and the little breakdown that you got, it actually popped you up. And that little level the whole lump. And then guess what? You were cast off. Not for a wrong breakdown, but because you didn't do the right thing. You didn't approach it the right way. You didn't bring it about the right way. Alright? That's something?
Okay, Timothy.
Alright, go ahead.
This is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3, and starting at verse 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived.
Yeah,
but
they're waxing worse and worse. And you see more and more in time other men coming out and doing the old breakdowns. Alright? Men teaching about the flat earth. Alright? Guess what? That first of all, that's not gonna save you. Alright? The scripture said that all things be done unto godliness. Alright? And to teach you the word of salvation. That's not gonna save you. Alright? Now the scriptures also said to be defenders of the faith. Now, as the brother was saying earlier on, even if the apostles was going off, which Lord forbid they not. Alright, even if they were going off, we still have to honor these men. Alright? But some men, case in point with the rape doctrine. Alright? Which, in the scriptures, but men, they're so emotional that they don't understand the breakdown in the scriptures. So then therefore they go off saying that the apostles going off. Even if they were going off, these are the men that the Most High set up, so you still have to honor these men. Alright? Apostles to her still honor high priest Aria. Alright? You still have to honor these men that over you. These are the men that the Most High set up.
That's right.
Alright? David sinned, but guess what? He was still king of Israel. Alright? That's right. But where are you now? The men that see the apostles going off, like this guy from about like 5-6 years ago, Isaiah. You say that the apostles were going off. Where are you now? Where are you now? The scripture said every man's work shall be tried, and they're going to be tried with fire, and the day shall reveal it. Now guess what? Where are you now? The apostles still here. They've been here. Alright? Knowledge popping up. Knowledge popping up. Alright? Where are...
Continuing, it says in verse 14, but continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them.
And he said, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. Continue the thing that thou hast learned, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. Anytime you realize that a spirit pushing you to leave the camp, guess what? That is not the spirit of the Most High. That is a seducing spirit. So you might think you are the right breakdown, but then when you realize the spirit pushing you to say, you know what? Leave GMS. We're going to do my own thing. Guess what? That is not the spirit of the Most High.
Scripture says, go not into a solitary place. It's an evil man.
Yeah.
Them spirits becoming all subtle, but it's evil spirits. Alright?
Deceiving and being deceived.
You
understand? Go ahead.
Continuing, it says, verse 15, and that from a child thou hast known the holy scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation through faith which is in Yahweh Shai Mashiach.
Understand? So there's where you learn coming up. The scripture said that, I think it's in 1 Timothy 4, it said, teach him not to marry. 1 Timothy 4.
Ready to marry.
First Timothy.
First Timothy.
When it said forbidden to marry and to eat things.
You can. First Timothy 4. And I'll start at 2. It says, speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Yeah, when you look up snare with a hot iron, seared with a hot iron, it means what? To render useless. Understand? So they no longer fit for the master's use. But the teaching lies in hypocrisies, and there's with them seducing spirits they cause it to teach lies. Go ahead.
It says, forbidden to marry and commanding to abstain from meats, which the Most High had created to be received with thanksgiving.
And I wasn't talking about food, I was talking about who the Israelite foreigners. So all of a sudden, they came in the truth, knowing that the Lord, rising up all the tribes of Israel, but then they started teaching contrary that these Israelites, they're not supposed to be a part of the doctrine. That all the house of Israel is only black people. You weren't taught that way. But as I said, you get epiphany. You see the scriptures that Israel was a dark-skinned people, but because of understanding, because you skip the middle class and try to go straight to the meat, you miss the fact that, guess what? Israel is scattered throughout all nations.
That's a choke.
So then therefore, all Israel would look like Israel. Understand? All Israel would look like Israel.
That's right.
Alright? That is what the scripture said, they are not all Israel that are of Israel because of the tears. So you might have dark-skinned people that look like Israel, but they're not Israel. So because you only going out after the outward, because you're looking at the flesh, you might actually bring people in the camp that are not Israelite, but you believe they are Israelite because of how they look. And they will condemn an Israelite because he don't look like you. Alright? That is why when it says saying to abstain from meats. Understand? He was talking about the Israelite foreigners. Alright, go ahead.
It says in verse 3 again, it says, forbidden to marry and commanding to abstain from meats, which the Most High created to be received with thanksgiving, of them which believe and know the truth. For every creature of the Most High is good, and nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving.
And that's going back to Acts 10 when Peter had the vision. That is who the preacher was talking about, the Israelite foreigners. You understand? This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 verse 23. It says, be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are shown unto thee that men understand. So if you understand the basics in this truth, guess what? You know more than the average scholar outside, because they don't know the truth. Alright? But it says, don't be curious of unnecessary matters. Be trying to get these Psalms.
Yeah.
Trying to, as they say down here in the island, you're trying to hang your hat where you can't reach it. Alright?
You're trying
to hang your hat where you can't reach it. Hey, guess what? The scripture said, wisdom exalted our children. The Most High will exalt you in due time. He will exalt you in due time. So the scripture also said, exalt not thyself lest thou fall. You understand? So don't try to, you see the apostles as great men. You want to be an apostle too. Guess what? You just came into this thing. These men not apostles overnight. These men were not apostles by a whim. These men were set up this way. There are no other apostles than the apostles we have now.
That's right.
It says, for many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion had overthrown their judgment. An evil suspicion, them seducing spirits overthrown their judgment. It says, without eyes thou shalt want light. Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. Don't profess the knowledge that you don't have. Don't go there trying to present yourself to be a great one and cause people to fall. Alright? Because guess what? The Most High is going to bring great judgment upon you. When they get a breakdown, when they get epiphanies, guess what? Go back and run them with somebody over you to make sure that you're on the right path. And if you realize you're on the right path, hey, humble yourself even more, because that is proof the Most High dealing with you. Because after one comes another. So if you get popped up after the Most High, take the chance to trust you with one breakdown, one simple breakdown, the Lord trusting you with, and you get all proud, then guess what? The Most High not going to give you anymore. But if you was humble, then guess what? After one will come another, and then guess what? You will realize that the Lord, as the scripture said, Lord giving you that increase. Because why you humble yourself. Alright, well.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 75 and verse 4. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. Lift not up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another.
The Most High is the one who does do the setting up and the taking down, not you. Understand?
But it say, hey, lift not up your horn on high. You understand that's going to you'll be proud. Alright? Now because the Most High gave something, a piece of knowledge, you started basically coast on everybody else. You're trying to show everybody else, hey, the Most High dealing with me and not with all here.
That's something is Ecclesiasticus 1 verse 30. It says, exalt not thyself lest thou fall, and bring dishonor upon thy soul. And so Yahweh discover thy secrets, and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation, because thou camest not in the truth of the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, but thy heart was full of deceit.
Yep.
So it says, do exalt yourself lest you fall. Understand? Go ahead.
It's the book of Psalms chapter 131 and verse 1. Lord, my heart is not haughty, nor mine eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters, or in things too high for me.
Yeah, too high for me. Guess what? It have breakdown that the apostles be doing that. Hey, it might sound a novice part. So that is why you don't worry about the meat. Deal with the milk. And then guess what? As time progresses, they'll be able to chew meat. But you have men that just came in the camp, 2 months in the camp, and believe that they're wiser than the apostles. And still can't even do basic breakdowns. But they're wiser than the apostles going on. And basic breakdowns they can't do. Basic breakdowns they can't do.
Choking on the milk, I want to chew meat. Yeah. This is the book Psalms 131 and verse 2. It says, surely I have behaved and quieted myself as a child that is weaned of his mother. My soul is even as a weaned child. Let Israel hope in the Lord from henceforth and forever.
Yeah. It says the book of 3 John verse 3. It says, I rejoice greatly when the brethren came and testified of the truth that is in thee, even as thou walkest in the truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. So you have to walk in the truth. You understand? You have to walk in the truth. You understand? Walk in the light. This is 1 John chapter 4 verse 1. It says, beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of Yahweh. So when you get that, you got to make sure, hey, if you're on the right path, or if there's to destroy you, if there's to build you up. It says, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. So you have to try them spirits.
Yeah, and if it is you become led away by that spirit, you could be an addition to them false prophets. You understand? You could be adding to them false prophets that gone out into the world. You know, like ITR and them they just added themselves to the false prophets that gone out into the world, which is a sign unto us. Alright, the men that follow in the apostles' doctrine, the men that follow in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, that this is the last days. And the scripture says in these times, these kind of men will arise. They will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits that making them feel that they have the formula. That they have the formula. They don't need they are the apostles now. They now leave from the apostles and they now are the apostles themselves. That's why the scripture says what? So in the last days also they shall be disobedient to parents. They shall speak evil of dignities. And that is what taking place. They disobedient to the people that nurtured them in the truth, that fed them. Alright? That gave them the milk.
Jude chapter 1 verse 10. It says, but these speak evil of those things which they know not, but are natural brute beasts. Alright? But what they know naturally as brute beasts, it says, in those things they corrupt themselves. It says, warn to them, for they are gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Corey. These are spots in your feast of charity, when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds are they without water, carried about of winds. Trees whose fruits withereth, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up from the roots.
John, and if you really study, these kind of men All right, they don't last too long. All right, and if they're going on, basically they're dragging it because, you don't see nothing from them. The most they might do is sit down and talk shit. All right, they ain't going out there and doing works, and then, people ain't coming to listen to them because it's foolishness they're on. You understand? Just bare foolishness. And that way people say they like clouds have no water.
No profit.
No profit to them. You understand?
It says raging waves of the sea foaming out their own shame. Like when they're doing the videos and they're talking shit about the apostles, they're looking for every little thing. Hey, look, the apostle, he don't have his shoes tied. So that's evil right there. It says, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Understand? So destruction reserved unto you, so you get act right. Because this truth ain't about pride, this truth is about humility.
That's right.
That is why the Lord made us of soil. When you look up the word humus, it actually means to be humble, it means low, it means to be humble. That is why the Lord made us of soil. Right? Hey, so that Noble was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh,
Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem HaKodash.
We give double honor to the apostles of greatness who are doing well. Salutations to the men of the hope and saints select. Brother Kalaba Makazar saying, Shalom.
Shalom.